Hi and hello to our second episode of Untergraben, the Undergrounded podcast. Last time we talked a lot about what you can do actually to support metal bars, pubs, organizers, and especially festivals. And this time we wanted to get a closer look what's happening like further away from Germany. And I'm very happy that we could get Kaido Haavandi to join our little podcast and. Yeah, just a short introduction about him. He's most likely one of the most versatile and yet shady, mysterious characters of the Estonian metal scene. He's the owner of Rock Club Tapper. He's the owner of one of maybe the biggest festivals in the Baltics, Hard Rock Lager, and member of several bands like Tarafita, Lloyds, and Manatarg. So who else could tell more about the situation of the Estonian scene right now? So, hi, Kaido.
Hi.
So, first of all, again, thank you for your time. So how's life? What's going on?
I think it's pretty much the same everywhere. We're trying to keep the isolation going. There's not much happening gig-wise. I mean, nothing's happening because all the gatherings over 2 people are prohibited. So when you walk on the streets, it's the 2+2 rule. Only 2 people together and keeping a 2-meter distance with the others. So what people do is going to the parks, jogging a lot, just going outside to get away from the 4 walls, trying to work from home, and trying to keep sanity if possible.
So, but are you working from home? Like, do you have like 100% home office, or is it even possible for you?
I've actually had it all the time. So I'm the home worker most of the time, and so when we take the normal weekdays right now, it's not too much different what I do usually. I would just go out more, put some meetings away from the messenger and meet people in person. That's not happening right now. And I'm not getting any emails and phone calls. So it seems like the other half of what I do has died off. But that will probably change soon. But otherwise, yeah, the usual regular days, they're not so much different from me. I just try to go outside a little bit more than usual. Maybe, try to stay healthy a little bit and stuff like that.
So I guess, yeah, as you already said, it's the same situation here. Like we only can outside, we can only meet like together, like 2 people at once. And then, but inside we are allowed to have like 5 people, which is just great. We had some barbecue like 2 weeks ago or something with 5 people. It was a complete strange situation because like normally you would hug or shake hands or whatever. But I mean, like after the 3rd beer, we nevertheless did. But it's super strange actually. But now I get the feeling that that there's already some relief, or they are thinking about like opening a little bit more here in Germany. Like little stores already are allowed to open up again, so there's some kind of relief. But nevertheless, like festivals, everywhere, like they get just postponed to 2021. And there's only one festival that I know, the Under the Black Sun in Berlin, that is maybe allowed to take place. It's around July, so they are too small to get like under this magic barrier of about 1,000 people, which they are discussing in several states of Germany. So maybe that one will take place actually, which is very great. And we'll see if it still takes place in about 1 month or something. But actually, what's happening with Hard Rock Lager, for example? I mean, I looked at the homepage like 15 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. So the Kilkim Saibu, for example, was already postponed. But what's happening with Hard Rock Lager?
Well, we haven't canceled anything yet or postponed. The way I'm thinking is that I mean, everybody knows the situation. People are not buying tickets at the moment anyway. They are sort of waiting this out. So it really doesn't matter if we make any decision now or make it perhaps in 2 or 3 weeks when when we will see if this special situation is continued by the government, or if they will start the relief measures that everything will start gradually opening up again. But still, I think it's hard for people to understand what this actually means for the promoters or organizers of the festival. Thing is that when you stop getting answers from partners, stop getting answers from bands, everything grinds to a halt. So I am under increasing pressure that when I do know that we can do this festival, there is only a very little time to react and make this perfectly. So what are the options? I mean, postponing is obvious, but for me, it's sort of like an easy way out. It's a terrible decision, of course, but that's something that you can do it in a heartbeat. I'm not going in that direction yet. So what are the options? We might be able to do the festival with in full capacity if we get all the bands who have already promised to perform. Thing is that some bands might say that if this is the only festival happening during the summer, then it doesn't make financially sense for them to to make the whole machinery going. It's not that the band members would just buy plane tickets, fly over, and do their stuff. They need to prepare. They might need to rehearse. They might fly their crew over from all over Europe and rehearse with them, and that might carry a pretty big budget. So one festival is not able to pay for it, to put it simply. So some foreign acts might cancel on that basis, but hopefully that wouldn't happen. But to be honest, that's a pretty unrealistic situation right now. That would mean the whole quarantine lifted, all the restrictions of gatherings lifted. That would mean all the borders opened. So we would have to step, in the same beat as the countries that would provide us these foreign acts. I mean, there is no use opening the borders here if, for instance, Norway is keeping the borders closed. Bands just won't be able to come. And that sounds pretty unrealistic for me looking at the situation, because once we get some sort of relief measures, people start going outside more, there might be a second wave, who knows what's going to happen. So step 2, we might be able to do the festival with local bands only. This is even a tougher decision, because that would mean that all the tickets that have been bought, they would have to be used for that particular festival. But it's not the same program anymore, is it? I mean, it's just the local bands, and our tickets range from 45 euros to, I guess it would be 65 euros from the gates. That's a pretty hefty price to pay for local acts, I think. So I would need to start a discussion with the audience. Would they be willing to spend that kind of money for the festival right now? Or would they rather keep the money, keep the tickets, so that it would be valid for the next year with the real capacity of Untergraben? What I see festivals doing a lot, like our brother festivals, our comrades, or whatever you call it, like the same size, same approach, is that they think that the festival with local bands only would not do justice to the whole brand and everything, the image we have been building for decades now, basically. That it would be, flushing it down the toilet all at once just because of financial reasons or financial reasoning. The difference between Hard Rock Lager and the other festivals is that we have always been sort of local as well. We have a local scene that I'm always trying to support and get the most hardworking acts that have released something this year or previous autumn. I'm trying to get them exposure. They also need festival experience. They also need contacts with foreign acts and so forth. There's always been a very strong local scene represented at the festival. So if we're dropping 6 foreign acts that everybody cares about, and a couple of more foreign acts that we just picked because they are young bands and struggling and would appreciate the exposure, then it wouldn't be such a big loss. At least I'm a little bit inclined to consider this. But as I said, this needs a conversation with people, and I would sort of need to open up a poll on Facebook or whatever, which I would hate, because people usually just do that to get confirmation to their already established opinion already, or just
exposure for yourself.
Extortion for excuse,
Yeah.
when you say like there would be majority of people saying like, yes, let's do it this year. Let's do it with local bands. We need, we will appreciate whatever you're throwing at us. Then it might be just that 200 people and the other 2,000 people are crying their eyes out. Like, what the fuck's happening? We were supposed to have an international festival, and now it's this stuff. But that said, we do have a really good support from the local scene, and I think people would understand it this way or that. I don't know.
I mean, it opens up a lot of like different chances, but also odds. And I mean, of course, if the foreign bands can come to Estonia, so it's already a decision right there. And but I guess there's already some money, like when going down the gutter, like the design of the logo, like contracts. I don't know, of course, the there's a small print in the contracts or something. But could you, if you would decide right now, okay, Hard Rock Lager will be postponed to next year, wouldn't there be any financial loss for yourself? I can hardly imagine that.
It is the only thing it depends on is that how many people would like their tickets back. Like they wouldn't care about the next year. They want the money back right now. And that could be a valid reason. I mean, they might be out of job. They might be, using this lost money for the food, whatever. That's a very good reason, and I would definitely respect that. But the thing is, the second they buy the ticket, it's not the same value anymore for the promoter. For me, in this case, first of all, the ticket sales company takes a small percent off of it. That said, they would also take a small percent off of it when people sell their tickets back. So they actually double charge the tickets. So let's put this in numbers. If the ticket costs like 50 euros, there's already like, I don't know, 5-6 euros gone from there. Oh, the cat came.
Our video got just 20 more clicks just because of the cat.
Good. So where were we? Yeah, so that's like 5 euros off that already. And what also people might not realize is that the chances of getting the festival into a break even and could be even some sort of profit or some money for extra costs, that all happens in the very last segment of ticket sales. The first part is all going to the costs. And so that you would be able to even announce the whole festival, you would need to have, in our case, designs, you would need to have t-shirts, you would need to have some confirmation from some bands. That already includes prepayment, which right now is already 5-digit euros. I'm talking about 10,000 euros and over, and more on top of that. From the prepaid money to the bands, there's already management costs, first of all, to get the deal even going. There's might be some kind of production costs already in effect. Plane tickets, definitely. I mean, nobody wants to buy plane tickets at the last possible moment. Everybody knows that, who's been on a vacation. You want to do that, as early as possible, maybe 4 or 5 months, and that's already past us. Yeah. So that's already done. So the way I'm actually looking at that, we have had really good ticket sales, but there's not too much left from that. So if people start asking money back, I would need to start asking that money back from the bands. That's when some sort of contract issues might appear. Some managements might say that, look at the contract, there's force majeure. We would be happy to fulfill our obligations, but we can do that only next year, obviously. So they would consider this like a prepayment for the next year or whenever the festival is happening.
Yeah.
That's an issue, and that's a lot of unknowns. So, I mean, there might not be any big loss of money if every piece of the puzzle falls into place. If everything goes for the worst, we might not be able to do the festival at all. I mean, there would have to be, basically a process of bankrupt would follow. People would get their money back as much as there are funds, and the rest of it just goes out into the wind, which actually some promoters do, but that wouldn't fit well with me. So I'm hoping it's not coming to that. But again, I would like to stress that we do have a very loyal fan base.
Audience.
Yeah, I mean, the first 300 tickets we sell, we do that in 10 to 20 minutes. I mean, that goes as fast as we can, provide tickets and T-shirts. And I can pretty much say that every person that comes to buy, I know them by face and name already. Some of them I know for decades. So it's not like they are people who suddenly discovered that they want to go to the rock festival, bought a ticket, and now would be super pissed, like, I need my money back, and I would rather spend this in a bar or in a nightclub. That's not the kind of audience we have. But I mean, I can say that I know hundreds of people, but I can't say that I know thousands of them. I don't know all the thousands of people by name and face. And the more years progress, the more of the new generation we get. And these are not the people that I have known for decades, obviously. These are not the people I meet on weekends on gigs.
Actually, I mean, I've been there once, and I can tell our audience right now that it's completely worth it to travel to Estonia and to go to Hard Rock Lager, just because it's like everything that I have in my mind. If I would go to a bigger festival, I called it once the Wacken of the Baltics, and it's basically that, but with better music and with less people. So basically, I can fully understand that the audience is very loyal, and I got the feeling that the whole scene is loyal like that. When every time I went to Estonia, I got that feeling, and so I guess that, yeah, that the support is there. But what's the situation of the state? Like are they already offering, like, artists and organizers, festivals, bars, some relief funds or something like that? Because in Germany they are talking about it all the time, that you can get like extra bank money or something like that for low interest rates and like some support, but they are still talking about it. And in the States, like in different states, they have different rules for that. But what about Estonia? Has the state, or do they offer you anything to help you?
There's been some talk about it, and the talk is already in some sort of final phase. They have agreed on the whole sum of money. They haven't agreed on the process yet, as far as I know, because when I asked, like, can I apply now? Then they just sent some vague general information, like, yeah, please read again, like what we're trying to do and so on. But there was no link in the end, like, where can I click and fill the form? We can't do that yet. But as far as my club goes, that's the Club Tapper, as the good people of Underground might know. We already got some rent relief from the landlord. We sort of wrote a letter that there's some tough times ahead, especially because this is happening before the summer. I mean, spring is the time when you don't only want to hit the break even, you also want to gather some fat for the summer months, because there's not much happening in the summer, and you better be prepared so that you wouldn't end up in big debts by the time the new season starts in September. That's what we had in mind, but that was sort of canceled. So I wrote the landlord that we might be in a tough situation by the start of September, and we got no answer. But what we did get, or actually what we didn't get, was the rent bill for the previous months. So, well, actually the current month, which is about to end. So what we're hoping is that we got a little bit relief out of that. We still have the I don't know how to call this, the communal costs, the electricity, the water bill. And even if we don't use any, there's some general water and general electricity of the whole area where we're located, and we still have to pay. There's some management costs that we have to pay.
Basic costs, something. Yeah.
And these also amount to over €1,000, which is, out of our hands. So that's still a monthly cost, and we still have to pay that. We're looking for some relief from the government for that. We did have some money put away personally and with the club as well, but that only goes as far as perhaps 1 month or so. We still have 4 months ahead until September. So we're and the good people of Underground, of course, have also been supporting us, which we are very grateful for. That helps a little bit. And, these are the small pieces that might, get us all the way through the summer. If we do that, we're really in clear waters. I mean, okay, we don't know what's going to happen in September, but that's already the next level. We're still, I think we are titled to a hope that we can do gigs in September, maybe even August already. We do have some gigs booked for August that we haven't canceled. So there's also some hope in that. I'm worried about the club, obviously, but not as worried as about the festival. The festival might turn out okay if all the people say that, yes, let's postpone this. We understand. We are happy to, get this ticket for the next year. There might be some extra T-shirt or something I will figure out for these people. Some badge, something to remember their contribution by. And then it would be great. But what I'm trying to get at is the club thing is thousands of euros. Over here, thousands of euros would be like the normal month's salary. Might be less, might be more, but that's sort of the average, I think, at the moment. So that's something you can struggle out of in a couple of years as a private person. Put 100 away, and at some point it becomes thousands, and at some point it's several thousands. You live like a monk for a couple of years. I've been there, done that. And I mean, the history of the club is not so rosy as some people might think. We've been struggling for years and years, and it's been a shit show financially. But we got through that, and that doesn't scare me, actually. Fuck it, we'll get through it again. But when we talk about the festival, there's tens of thousands of euros at play, and that's not something you struggle out of in a lifetime if things go to the worst scenario. I mean, you might take a bank loan and pay back to the people, but then you just owe it to the bank with interest. So there's no good scenario if everything goes to the shitter. Well, we'll see. But yeah, the point I was trying to make is that I'm worried about the club, but it will survive, one way or the other. There might be a new club, whatever.
Saying that is like there's still a GoFundMe campaign running. Like people can donate to you, and also they can donate via PayPal, of course. So to help you guys out, and especially the scene. I mean, what's so perfect about Rock Club Tapper and Tallinn? It's like a link. I see it. I said it before. It's like a link between the Nordics and like Russia, and also like some European countries. Like it's in the center, and it's good. It's very good to reach it. And it's also like a very important stop for bands for a tour, like for Lithuania, for Finland, for Sweden, maybe for Russia, and also for Poland and something, because it's so in the center if you think about those countries. So it has to survive, actually. That's my personal opinion, and of course people should support it. So I think you're glad that like House of Winter, for example, it was like in the beginning of this whole crisis, and that took place was very important, I guess, financially as well, and everything. Okay, so I finished off with that. It's very important that the Rock Club Tapper is still alive, because it's a link to all those festivals and all those tours of bands, and that we are glad that House of Winter could take place before the full crisis and everything. So could you talk a little bit about your experience with the tour with Lloyd's, especially? I mean, it was already something brewing, but how was your experience with Lloyd's going on tour again, especially with Moon Sorrow?
It was sort of a mini tour. We did 4 gigs together with Moon Sorrow. But every gig was really good. I mean, there were no filler dates. That's what happens sometimes on the road when you are on a nightliner tour. Then there's always, Mondays and Tuesdays that need to be filled, and sometimes these gigs go to a very few people. But these gigs were really sold out. Big venues. Moon Sorrow is really well appreciated in Finland, and Lloyd's was really honored to join them on stage. That's the best kickstart exposure we could have had in Finland for this new lineup, and that left us with a really good feeling. We are definitely confident about using this lineup to make some new material, and that's sort of a basis for some future tours.
I mean, you have a great drummer, actually, also from another very great band and everything. So I've seen you in Lithuania, and it was really good. Like the gig was perfect, actually, and I think that the new lineup could work. But do you have something brewing, something new, like new material or something, or do you get the feeling like now that everyone is in lockdown? Basically, do you get the feeling that it's also starting some creative work, maybe for your other bands or some other bands?
Yes and no. Well, creativity is not something that, it's not like a water system that you just open the tap and it starts pouring. But definitely the atmosphere is better than it would be during the normal work days where everybody might be calling and there's issues to handle and so forth. And you can't really dive into the whole creative process. But on the other hand, for me personally, there's much less privacy, and that's something I really need. I need stuff to be in order around me, and I really need to just disappear, take the guitar and disappear into whatever is brewing in my head. So the answer is yes and no, but I'm inclined to think that the whole quarantine thing, it does favors to the creative process, and that actually would accelerate whatever Lloyd's would be putting out in the future.
That's perfect. Okay. Yeah, basically that's it. Okay, I think it's.
You look a little bit like disappointed. You would like me to get into the details. Like, yes, I've been writing some riffs, and the guitar comes down from the wall more often, and we've already exchanged some of the ideas, and it looks like we're on the same page with the band, which is a huge leap actually forward, because I think that's one of the, at least with a format like Lloyd's, we don't like meet in a rehearsal room and start jamming new songs. It's more of a individual process, and being already decades in this scene, everybody has grown a little bit in different direction. So it's like very, very important for the band to be on the same page, especially if there's a whole generation between us and some of the younger members of the band. And once you can establish that you can share the ideas with within the same frame, then things start moving forward, and you're confident with the riffs you make. And I think we're pretty much approaching the point where everybody can start working individually with some real confidence, and then just share the ideas, pick out the best, combine the rest. That's how it works for us. And I mean, I don't know how fast this would happen, but I'm definitely seeing a clear path to some sort of release, and not in a couple of years, but definitely sooner.
No, I mean, I'm not disappointed. I mean, of course, it was kind of a stupid question, because as you already said, like, creativity is not a tap that you turn on and off and the water starts pouring. I mean, that's a perfect allegory for that process. I mean, if it hits you, it doesn't matter where you are, or if you are like brooding anywhere in a small hut in the woods or everything. I guess that's not how it works. I guess it's for a lot of people, it's depressing, like, to being in lockdown, and you have to force yourself, at least for me, it's like that. You have to force yourself to go out more, to exercise more. I mean, I'm exercising like crazy at the moment indoors, but it's depressing, and I don't know if it works well with creativity, actually. Then again, I don't play any instruments because I just suck with everything. So what I want to do is just to support, and that's what Undergrounded does. Yeah. So
a lot of people actually say that the best ideas come when you go to sleep, like close your eyes and start to doze off, and then that's when it hits you, and that's when you would actually like to pick up the guitar and do something. that just goes to show that you really need to put everything behind. You need to distance yourself from the everyday life, and that's actually when creativity starts flowing. Unfortunately, that's not when you pick up the guitar and in the morning it's the same
space and place and everything.
run-of-the-mill thing again. You probably again need to start establishing the calm and the space, and then it really helps when you get a good idea. You are free to pick up that guitar and start, making something out of it. Not that you need to do something else.
Perfect. So I guess the last words on you. I can only say, yeah, support Hard Rock Lager, support Rock Club Tapper, to our friends here over in Germany. Travel over there when the borders are open again. So what are your last words to the audience?
Well, my last words would be a big thank you to Undergrounded and the whole staff behind you. And it's a huge thing that you're doing for the scene right now. I think you're keeping people together, keeping them updated. I have been able to share my point of view that people otherwise might not be getting when they look at the festival poster that says canceled or postponed or whatever. Now they have a better idea, I hope. And it's obviously it's not just my festival. It's all the promoters that are struggling at the moment. So a huge thank you to you, and a huge thank you to the listeners and watchers. I hope you got something out of it.
Perfect. So have a good one. Keep safe and sane, and then hopefully we will see each other again sometimes in Estonia.
Cheers, man.